Well, good morning, folks. Good afternoon or good evening, depending on whereabouts in the world you are. A very warm welcome, as usual, back to What's for Tea. And it is lovely to see you again. And I do say that every time, but it is lovely to see you because I've gotten to know so many of you, and I recognise a lot of the same names that come back video after video. So it's very much appreciated. And this was the one that you'd asked to see. I'd asked you whether you wanted to see the cheese scones or the macaroni cheese. So this one gets slightly more votes, but I'm going to be doing the macaroni cheese as well in the next couple of weeks because it was quite close. So this was everything that I used here, but as usual, all of these ingredients with their quantities or weights will be in the description box underneath the video, just in case you want to make these for yourself. It's such a simple recipe, and we would typically have these with some tomato soup, because they are savoury scones, or I think you might call them biscuits in the States, but they are lovely. I used a wee bit of mustard powder just for a wee bit of extra flavour and colour. So you want to put all of your dry ingredients through a sieve. So I start with my flour and then my wee teaspoon each of the baking powder, the paprika, the mustard powder, some salt, and also some sugar. So just pop everything through the sieve just to make sure you catch any lumps that there might be in there. So this is just self-raising flour. So it'll look something like this. It'll be nice and smooth and lump free. And now I'm going to add in my cheese. Now I'm using a 4 blend, but you can use any cheese you like. I recommend a nice strong cheddar because you do want to taste the cheese. And I'm going to add in a wee bit of grated Parmesan as well, just to make it extra cheesy because Parmesan's got quite a strong flavour. And I've grated some ice cold butter, and I'm going to pop my butter in here as well. It just makes it easier to incorporate into your flour. It spreads out a lot more evenly instead of trying to do it with wee chunks of butter. It just sort of disappears into your flour. So I start off my fork just to make sure it's nice and even, and then I go in with my milk. So this is 110 mils of milk, and you just want to mix this in. Again, I'm just going to use my fork, and then once I can't go any further with my fork, I'm going to get in with my hands and just lightly shape this into a sort of dough that you're going to be able to roll. But don't overwork your mixture because you don't want to end up with tough scones. So just do this just until it starts coming together, and don't worry if you think it's looking dry because it is quite a dry dough. This shouldn't be sticky at all. And you will be able to roll it out fine, but you might be a bit worried that it's looking dry. So flour your surface and then get your dough onto your surface. Just give it a wee sort of squidge together with your hands just to bring all those wee dry loose ends in. Grab your rolling pin, and you don't want to roll this out too much because you do want your scones to be quite chunky, probably between 2 and 3 centimetres thick, and that's going to give you a nice tall scone. The thinner you roll these out, you don't want them like cookies. So you do want to leave your dough quite thick, and this will mean that you need to re-roll it probably a couple of times, but rather that than getting really, really thin scones. So I'm using quite a large cutter here, so I'm going to end up with 4 good scones with some extra dough to get a wee scraggy extra scone at the end, because we're going to be having these today for lunch with tomato soup. So one is more than enough, because they are quite heavy, but they are delicious as well. So just keep going and use whatever size cutter you prefer. Obviously the smaller cutter you use, the more scones you're going to get. So it just depends how big you want them. Like I said, I was going for 4, so I did get 4 with an extra wee one, and I'll show you that when we get there. So yeah, just keep going, and when you're pressing your cutter through, don't keep wiggling it from side to side or you will end up with lopsided scones. Just go straight in with your cutter and straight out. There's no need for wiggling. So grab your oven tray. I've popped some greaseproof paper on the top. Pop your scones on, and then we're just going to glaze the top with some milk. You could use some egg if you prefer, but we don't want too much colour on these. They are, they're quite pale. You're going to get a wee bit of colour from the cheese as it bakes, but you don't want these super brown. So just a wee light coating of milk on there is good enough. So give these between 20 and 25 minutes. That's your temperatures there. Now your time will vary obviously in how big your scones are. Mine's took just over 20 minutes because they are quite large, but if you're making smaller scones they might not take as long. So pop them onto a wire rack to cool, and this was them done. And don't they look fantastic? The two at the front are the most impressive, so I've put those ones at the front. You can see the wee scraggy one there, but it's just going to be as delicious. Now I'm not going to be able to cut these through because I made these last night and we are having them today for the, you know, with tomato soup for lunch, so I didn't want them to dry out. But that's them there, and they're lovely and fluffy inside. Just before I leave you, I wanted to say, as usual, a massive thank you to the supporters of the channel over on my Patreon page and to the channel members here on YouTube as well. It's very much appreciated, guys, and thank you all for watching and leaving your lovely comments. And if you haven't done yet, please give the video a like because it does help the channel out. I am trying to grow my wee channel, so it really does help with the YouTube algorithm apparently if you give the video a like. And also a big thank you to those of you who share the videos. You know, none of this goes unnoticed, and I do appreciate everything you do. And if you're not following me over on Instagram yet, I'm What's for Tea 3 over there, and it would be lovely to see you. And I do have some messages over there that I need to respond to as well, which I will be doing today at some point. So I'm going to leave you now because I am in danger of rambling. I mean, I do go on a wee bit. So thank you very much for watching if you're still here at this point, and I will catch up with you during the week for my wee shopping haul, or even back on Sunday for meals of the week. And I think next week it's going to be that macaroni cheese recipe because so many of you seem to want to see it. And I did do a macaroni cheese recipe years ago, but I do make it different now, so it's a kind of updated version of my old recipe, and it's much nicer as well. So hopefully you will join me for that. So whenever I see you again, guys, mind to take care of yourselves, and I'll see you off soon back here on What's for Tea. Bye now.